Stop right there before you sign that contract. If you're planning to buy a house in 2026, what I'm about to share could save you tens of thousands of dollars or prevent you from going underwater on your mortgage. I've analyzed the latest housing forecasts from Realtor.com/Zillow, Redfin, and major economic institutions, and the data is shocking. Nosedive. 5 states are facing what analysts call a new era of housing decline, with prices dropping, inventory at decade highs, and hidden costs exploding. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 states you should absolutely avoid buying in 2026, backed by real data. Let's dive in. First up is Florida, the state that dominates every worst market. List for 2026. Here's the brutal reality. 7 out of 8 major Florida metros are projected to see home price declines this year. Cape Coral leads the nation with a projected 10.2% price drop. But falling prices are just the beginning. Florida faces a triple threat. First, massive inventory oversupply. Florida built more homes than almost any state during the pandemic, and that inventory is now sitting at decade-high levels. Second, the insurance crisis. This is the killer. Florida homeowners insurance has doubled since 2020, now averaging a staggering $11,000 per year. Premiums are projected to increase another 8% in both 2026 and 2027. Third, affordability has collapsed. The mortgage cost-to-income ratio in Florida has exploded from 25% to over 35%. Unless you're getting an absolute steal and can self-insure, Florida is a higher-risk purchase in 2026. Next, let's talk about Texas and its property tax trap. Texas exploded during the pandemic as remote workers flooded Austin and Dallas. But the tide has turned. Median sale prices are declining while the national average rises. Austin and San Antonio are specifically named as cooling markets with decade-high inventory. What makes Texas particularly dangerous are the property taxes. Texas has no state income tax, but they make up for it with crushing property taxes, which jumped nearly 50% from 2019 to 2024. In 2023, over half of Texas escrow accounts had shortages due to tax and insurance increases. Austin exemplifies the problem. Once the hottest boomtown, it's now a buyer's market. Companies are calling workers back to offices, and the remote work migration has reversed. The trap is that Texas properties look affordable until you factor in taxes and insurance. Your monthly payment could increase dramatically every single year, regardless of appreciation. State number 3 is Arizona, where desert risks are rising. Arizona joined Florida and Texas in the Sun Belt decline. The average Arizona home value is down 2.7% year over year, and Phoenix faces decade-high inventory. Arizona has 3 specific risks. First, water supply concerns. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a real factor in new housing developments. Long-term buyers need to ask, will this area have adequate water in 10 or 20 years? Second, climate costs. Arizona saw insurance premiums increase up to 70% in recent years due to heat and wildfire risks. Insurers are either raising rates or pulling out. Third, the Phoenix paradox. It was a popular migration destination, but that demand is untranslating to price growth, because affordability has collapsed and inventory is rising too fast. The forecast shows slight declines, then modest growth around 1 to 2% in 2026, which is barely keeping pace with inflation. Now for state number 4, Tennessee, and Nashville's nosedive. Everyone knows Nashville boomed, but what they don't know is it's now one of the fastest cooling markets in America. Nashville's home value growth is just 0.1% year over year, down from a 26.9% peak in 2021. Redfin specifically named Nashville as a cooling market for 2026. What happened? Just like Florida and Texas, Tennessee's mortgage cost-to-income ratio ballooned from under 25% to over 35%. The remote work boom brought massive migration, but return-to-office mandates reversed that trend. Now, Nashville has excess inventory and essentially flat appreciation. While other Tennessee markets like Knoxville are still showing growth, Nashville specifically is the problem child. Buying now means potentially facing flat or declining values while dealing with a sky-high cost of living. Finally, we have North Carolina, where Raleigh is stalling out. North Carolina is complicated. Charlotte is still strong, but Raleigh faces significant headwinds. Raleigh is projected for near-flat growth, with prices expected to rise only 1.4% by the end of 2026. Greensboro may also see sales declines. The issue here isn't an insurance crisis or a tax explosion. It's oversupply in specific markets. Raleigh saw massive new construction, and now inventory is up, price growth has stalled, and buyers have more negotiating power. Nearly 60% of homes statewide are selling below list price. So, don't avoid all of North Carolina, but be extremely selective. Raleigh specifically faces an oversupply situation that could limit your home's appreciation for years. So what ties all 5 states together? The hidden costs of homeownership are exploding, and these states are ground zero. Homeowners insurance now accounts for 9% of the typical monthly payment, the highest on record, with more increases expected. Property taxes are even scarier. In 2023, over half of escrow accounts in Texas and 40% in Florida had shortages. When that happens, your monthly payment can jump by hundreds of dollars overnight. Even if home prices stay flat, your total cost of ownership is rising fast, and in these 5 states, those increases are the most severe. So where should you consider buying instead? The data shows strength in unexpected places. The Rust Belt is experiencing a revival. Cleveland, Hartford, and Chicago have tight inventory, rising prices, and better affordability. Midwest markets like Minneapolis and Madison offer stability. Why these markets? They're seeing reverse pandemic migration, with people returning from overheated Sunbelt markets. These areas offer more stable insurance costs, better long-term fundamentals, and sustainable growth instead of boom-bust cycles. Before you make any decisions, please understand this: every market is local. Just because I said avoid Florida doesn't mean every property there is a bad deal. If you find an undervalued property with manageable insurance and you plan to hold it long-term, it might work, but go in with your eyes wide open. This is not financial advice. Your personal situation, income, and risk tolerance all matter. Always consult with licensed professionals in your specific market. To wrap up, the 5 states to seriously reconsider buying in for 2026 are Florida, Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, specifically Nashville, and North Carolina, specifically Raleigh. The common thread is that affordability has collapsed, insurance costs have spiked, and inventory has surged. Meanwhile, markets in the Northeast and Midwest show more sustainable growth. If you are buying in 2026, calculate all your costs, check the insurance history on any property, and get pre-approved early. Hit that like button and subscribe for more data-driven real estate analysis. Drop a comment below about your experience in these markets. Then, remember, the best time to buy is when it makes financial sense for you. Do your research, run the numbers, and make an informed decision. I'll see you in the next video.